The answer to that question, what happens when children actually listen to their father, holds the key to a life fulfilled and a world transformed. We traveled to China to meet an incredible couple whose lives were radically altered after an encounter with the Father. Their names are Mike and Dina Van't Hull, and Mike joined us for a brief stop in Taiwan to film an enormous gathering that was happening there. Mike and Dina had encountered the Father through this man, Randy Clark, and Mike wanted to see his old friend again. And once more, God reminded me that those who truly seek after Him will encounter His love as well as His power.
In Jesus' name, renew your refresh Him, filling afresh, baptism of love, baptism of power. God, let me begin to see miracles, not just healings. In the name of Jesus. Creative miracles. In the name.
He was vice president of a bank, and they had a big home and nice cars and just everything. And they were nominal. They were lukewarm. They were the last ones in, sat in the back, and the first ones out when service was over. I was preaching in the morning. I think it was on Sunday morning. I'm not sure, but I said something in order: if you really want to be touched by God, come to the front. And I said, "Come, Holy Spirit." And people began to fall over the church, and they fell. But when they got up, they were radically changed in that short amount of time with the Spirit on them. Mike came just shortly afterwards and was weeping and told Tom, "I can't be vice president of a bank anymore."
Even though I'd say we were happily married and had a good family and were living a good life, there was still an emptiness in us, especially in me, that was not being fulfilled in my Christian walk.
We both were raised in Christian families, and so we believed the Bible, but we had none of it in our life, and we would say, "Where's the more? If this is really what it seems to be, where's the fruit? Where's the more? Where's the passion? Where's the love?" They say you have to love God. How do you love God? I don't know how to do that. I can accept Him and say a prayer, but how do you fall in love with God? And what does that mean? And what if you don't feel it? Can you still be a Christian? Can you still, and we would have these conversations. And so that night reminds me of the night that I met Mike. That's what it's the same kind of feeling that I had. It was like meeting Jesus for the first time.
What the Lord did, on the outside looked, innocent enough and casual, but was very deep. So it is hard to describe, what happened inside, Dean and I, and, there was just such an exchange where he took things, from me, that, I didn't deserve the forgiveness and the deliverance, but things were just removed instantly and just replaced with radical love.
Well, that radical love would propel them to sell everything and fly to China with their 3 small children and 2 suitcases. No plan, couldn't speak the language, but God told them to go, and they trusted Him.
So we just said, if He's asking us to go, then we're just going to go. And so we sold our house, and we gave everything else away, and we just came with clothes, and we moved here with our 3 children. They were 18 months and 5 and 8 at the time.
And you had no home, no house?
No house. We lived in a hotel for 3 days and found an apartment, and was very interesting. It had rats and it had raw sewage, and we didn't know anything. And I remember walking in, and it was everything up until that point for me, it was very exciting. It was, even though there was a lot of sacrifice involved, but even the sacrifices were such a joyful sacrifice. It was like, it was all I had to give, and I was just so happy to give it. But at that moment, as I stood in the apartment and I watched my children come in for the first time and see their new home. And I thought, what kind of mother does this to her children? You know, we had a beautiful home and a beautiful family. And it hit me, you know, like, this is real. You know, this is real. And I saw their little faces, you know, just try and do the best that they could. And I just thought, oh my goodness, you know, what have I done?
What they had done was put their lives completely in their father's hands, and either he would have to come through for them, or they were in big trouble. But then, Dina forged a relationship with some of the local orphanages, and miracles began to happen, and doors were opened for them that never should have been opened, and they began to receive children from these orphanages that no one else wanted, which, in just a short time, has led to this. Welcome to the home that love built. With hardly any regular funding and month-to-month financial miracles, Mike and Dina care for lame, blind, and mostly unadoptable children through their ministry, Loaves and Fishes. They give them an education, care for them, and pour out as much love as they physically can on children no one else deems worthy of love. These children are us, broken, unwanted, overlooked people. But the Father shines through two people, and suddenly the child's purpose is made clear. All that is expected of these kids is that they receive the love lavished upon them. Here's just one example of the more than 40 children Mike and Dina care for. This little boy was kidnapped from his parents and shipped into the country in a box for 3 days. The lack of oxygen gave him permanent brain damage.
So with him, we feel really honored to have him. We always, think, what if our child was stolen? We know and heard so many stories of people who've had their children stolen from them, and what would we want? Of course we would want to find them, but if we couldn't find them, we would want somebody to honor them, to love them, to care for them. And so we count it a great privilege to take care of him in the place of his family.
When I asked Dina why she does this for children who won't be able to give anything back, I received an education as well.
Right. Well, we believe that God is the giver of life, and that if He chose for a life to be created, that there's purpose in the life. And these children have taught us more than probably some of the greatest teachers and preachers of our time about love. God has used them to change the way that we think, the way that we feel, and we're happy. And holding them, I feel God's presence. And holding them, I feel His pleasure. And holding them and loving them, even when they die in my arms, I feel His grace. Why would He choose us to do this? I don't know, but there's this knowing that we're in the center of His will for our life. And we know we're only a piece of the puzzle. We're one piece of this amazing puzzle that He's created, and we just want to do our part well.
Even the darkness will not be dark to you. The night will shine like the day, for darkness is as light to you.